Here we go. Welcome everyone to an incredible event, Jews in Sports. Boxers fight to unite the African American community and the Jewish community. I want to set the tone for everyone listening that this is not a debate.
I'd say hate is an insecurity mixed with a lack of resources.
But Steve, someone who's educated can still have hate though, right?
Indeed, but they can also be ignorant to who or what they're hating. You understand what I mean? Like example, example with so-called African Americans with white America. Once you have a lot of people yelling at so-called black people, and these people, they don't grow up around black people. They don't understand our culture. They don't understand our way of life, and they see it, it's different. They're ignorant to it, and it's, what comes out of that is a lot of hate towards us for, just the way we are,
Point is that there are many levels of which one can be racist, and there are many levels in which one can be anti-Semitic, homophobic, anti-women. There are many levels and different forms of xenophobias, and I think each one of them express themselves differently.
Sometimes hate is passed down, but basically to me, hate is, one is the lack of familiarity, as Steve said, but also it's people who are impotent looking to take power. So they will find power by pushing other people down. And I don't think it's relevant as to who they hate. It's just a way of not feeling impotent.
On one end, we have the ignorance I was speaking of. We only thing a lot of us know of the Jewish people is Jews run everything. They run the news, they run the, and when I say they, this is how the people think. They're not looking at it as of, hey, this guy owns that. It's not the whole, all the Jewish people don't benefit to an extent of it. It's not them running it, but it's a Jewish guy running the news. As I said before, we're not in those communities. There is no no unity amongst us to get to know each other. And I won't put that all on us. I won't put that all on the Jewish community. That's just the way there's a separation of not understanding.
Something happened in the 70s based on greed and oil and all of that, because prior to them, the Jews and the African Americans were completely unified. And in fact, the Jews were the hugest sponsors for the African American community. So again, I'm going to go back to greed. But that's what started it. That's not why it's happening now. It benefited somebody to split the two communities.
True.
Interesting point. I will like to point out, you are correct in the sense that Ron Mix, NFL Hall of Famer, 1963-ish or whatever, the All-Star game was supposed to be in New Orleans, and he's a Jew, and he said, let's boycott the games. The conditions are not good for the African American community and the players, and so he got all the other players to boycott, and they actually moved it to Houston. So to that point, there, and he was even saying, he went through this list. The Jews were helping and such and this, and so it is an interesting point to hear that there's a benefit to divide again that enemy.
Growing up first as a boy in Soviet Union, the Jews never been liked there anyway. Arabs, for example, they hate Jews, and the Jews vice versa, and it's fascinating because I remember the first time when I came to the gym in the Arab village, and they put me into sparring one kid, and the kid was, trying to kill me. I tried to, defend myself, but then I actually had the upper hand. And it's funny because in the end, I got their respect, and we were for 3 years or 4 years probably, we're training in the same gym. We had the same goals. We want to get out of this situation, and we want to achieve something good in boxing. I just think really the hate and the racism is really it's an invention. It's not something predominantly human nature. Somebody, whoever is invented it, to see the difference. We are the different. Like, for example, when you say something, those people, or they are, like, as soon as there's a difference, even in a sentence, we are happen to be like, we are almost like separated. And then when we separated, we are not feeling sorry for the, like.
Well, I heard Steve pronounce Jewish. I don't know if you intentionally pronounced it that way, but I do want to touch on something that a lot of people have been saying, that somehow saying Jewish means kind of a Jew. But I wouldn't say that someone that is English is kind of an Ingle, or someone that is Polish is kind of a Pole. And the reason we say Jewish is because ish in Hebrew means man, so we say Jew man. So when we're talking about someone that is Jewish, it's someone that's a Hebrew, an Israelite, a Jew, all different names for the same peoples. And the basic formula for anti-Semitism is finding the source of suffering and pain and evil that exists within the fabric of a society or community, and blaming those evils and struggles on the Jewish people. It is also about minimizing Jewish experience and pain. So you have a lot of people minimizing what happened during the Holocaust, for example. And it also has to do with delegitimizing Jewish identity, for example, calling Jews white. Whereas today, when we're talking about someone being white, it's not about their color of skin necessarily, because there are albino Africans that are pale, there are Asians that are very light-skinned, and way more light-skinned sometimes than many Caucasians. Today, when someone is saying being white, it's also about their origins, their status, and their culture. And specifically having origins in Europe, specifically having a white status in European and white societies, and specifically having a culture from Europe. There will always be people that hate. There will always be people that are racist. There will always be people that are anti-Semitic. And that's very true. You'll never be able to rid yourself completely of individuals who hate. But you can shift a culture into getting them to recognize what is hate towards a people and how to fight against. Because like you said, there will always be groups of people against Blacks, against women, against Jews, against any form of minority, but it's the responsibility of that minority to create coalitions and to fight against, and to allow the society to recognize and to realize what is wrong and how to fight against it.
Rudy,
So
can I also just add to that point, because it's a very powerful point. You're seeing that with the African-American community, and the Jewish community is not embolizing it in the strength perspective, psychologically, right? When someone tries to bully you, right, they try to make you feel less than you are, and you succumb to that, right? Then they've won. You have no, you've given them a platform to bully. If you stand up strong, you stand up proud, and you say, I have a right to be here, I have a right, I'm not different than you, then you have now, you've taken away their power to bully you, Steve, because I'm not saying Israelites, actually take away,
just black people compete.
Well, because Boyd was saying, like, it's small, right? You and Amari Stoudemire, right? So, but what has the danger of what has happened, what you're talking about, we need divide, we need such. What has happened is that your message, right, or whatever, of the Israelite Union has now been turned into a weapon that is being used versus the Jewish people to make them fearful and scared. Unfortunately, we're reacting that way instead of standing up strong. But it is felt in the Jewish community, and it is being geared toward Blacks. And there's in African American, there's a reason for that. I'll throw it to Boyd.
Next week, September 13th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, aish.tv, we will get to hear Boyd's wisdom of this whole question, this whole thought. We go into greater detail on the Israelite argument,